excited to be back with Gustavo Hermida for New Year of Growth. Gustavo, how are you doing this year?
I'm doing great, Jack, and Happy New Year to you too and to your whole crew.
Man, thank you. A lot of exciting things happening at RDS, and I'm glad that we can have this podcast discussion with you and just talk about, some of the new relevant products that you guys are putting out there in partnership with Rico and Brother and all the different partners you work with. But before I do, what are you most excited about this year?
Bring in value. It's always been a motivator, a personal motivator because when you do bring value to people, generally it's well received and you can truly help. Okay. You might be in a mature industry, but it depends on how you present things, on how you incorporate your solutions. It might make a lot more sense for our clients. So we're still motivated by bringing value and delivering cost-saving opportunities for our clients.
That's exciting. You were just telling me a little bit about, you have over 2,000 customers, and I know you deal with a wide range of industries, but you mentioned a case that you're working on right now, which is with a law firm, and I know you deal with a lot of lawyers because they are print-intensive industry. Can you talk a little bit about what are some of those particulars, obviously keeping privacy of that particular client, that
of course,
uniquely challenging for that client that you're helping solve?
It's clients in general. We serve an array of industries, but let's talk a little bit about the legal firm. The legal firms. We know that in the legal community and the legal industry, there's a lot of documentation. A lot of back and forth prints and scans and versions of documents that become very important and sometimes very critical and crucial for the work that a lawyer has to do. Okay. Now, on the other side, depends on the law firm. Sometimes law firms work on some very strict budgets that they need to keep their expenses at. And so we always try to say, well, the normal human being think, well, if I keep something that is old, it's already mine and it's already, I own it and I have, the supplies for it. I should be saving. Okay. That sounds somewhat logical, but unfortunately it doesn't always work that way because technology changes. So the products that you may own for a few years that are using the consumables that for a product that is now 6 or 8 years old, the consumables themselves become more expensive and the parts become less available. Plus, units that were manufactured 8 to 10 years ago did not meet the levels of internet security that the new pieces of equipment can do. Okay, so this is really a bit of an explanation, but it's not a simple straight cut. It's sometimes we need to do an analysis. We need to approach a company and say, listen, what I can offer is let me look at your whole entire picture, but don't look anything behind. I always say, people can visualize an iceberg, but they cannot see what's underneath the ocean. And that is the biggest piece of ice. Okay. So when you see an iceberg, trust me, more than 2/3 of that iceberg are underwater. And if I relate that to, you see the iceberg, oh, these are my costs because this is what I can see. But sometimes the hidden costs are in what you cannot see very easily unless you do a full analysis. Okay. So those are the things that we bring to our client. Let us have a good conversation about what are your requirements and how are you doing things, and let's see how we can help you maximize those resources. Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting because we used to think about printers as managed print, but which we'll discuss that, especially as it relates to law firms, education sector, health sector, car dealerships, anyone that's dealing with paper, and paper's not going anywhere anytime soon. And as we dealt with this issue of managed print, it seems to me now it's not just managed print, but it's managed content services. Can you elaborate a little bit about the shift that you've seen as a professional in this industry?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because obviously we talk about managing prints and managing the cost for prints. That's an important part, and that's what we are discussing here with what we normally nominate as managed print services. But part of the analysis also may lead us to okay, so your process requires you to print this document. What if you didn't print it? What if you just created an image and that image was shared to the people that need to see that image, and maybe annotate it and modify it, and instead of printing it 2 or 3 times and having whiteout or a highlight all over the paper, maybe you can do that electronically. So those are things, sub themes that come out of that conversation. But specifically on the managed print services, what we basically hope to do with many clients, and as a matter of fact, I'm going to bring up a particular client that happens to be one of our customers. Okay, so one of our customers that several years ago we started into what we call an MPS agreement. Okay, with the equipment that they have. So they own a lot of pieces of equipment, HP printers and the like. Okay, plus they have some multifunctional equipment, and we took over the service agreement for those printers. So we now know this account very well because we know the volumes that they do. We know what they're spending because they're spending with us. The thing is, right now they have some new requirements. They open up at a couple of departments. They need some new printers, and I cannot place the same kind of printers that they have on hand because those are 8 or 10-year-old machines, so they're no longer available. Okay, so now we're going to be introducing a new product, more than likely a brother product, okay, because the one that we feel makes the most sense. But when we look a little deeper, we kind of realize that we can actually provide a customer with the ability to replace a whole entire fleet with brand new printers and help them maintain the cost right where they are today. It's almost like sounds like an easy answer, but it requires a little explanation because some people say, how could you do that? Well, we can do it, number one, because we're super competitive. But number two, because when we look at the whole entire picture, we can deliver that kind of value to you. Okay.
That's exciting. And I know that you guys were nominated one of the top brother dealers because you guys are providing these type of solutions for people. Can you tell me the full status of that recognition and how that came about?
Yeah, well, our brother partnership has been evolving, and we're very, very excited with the partnership that we have with brother, and the training and the support that they give us. Most important, the support that they give us on the service side and on the customer service side. Okay, the last year I was personally nominated as part of the dealer council, so I assisted to a dealer council meeting, which is really an invitation of a selected group of principals from different dealerships, different sizes, where we meet and we kind of have a what we call a tete-to-tete, a face-to-face conversation with brother, where they are truly open and taking notes about how we can improve our relationship both ways, and what are the things that we would like to see them do. Okay. As a matter of fact, the meeting took place in San Diego. It was the end of November, and it's a great experience. As the longer I've been in the industry, the more I realize that I can continue to learn, and it keeps me motivated because of it. Okay. But the most important part that comes out of it is, and the base of it is, brother is a very reliable product. Okay. So that is the base. You know, the reliability of the
Right.
products is very good. The operating costs of the products are very good. And whenever there is an issue with a product, Brother has made it so easy for us to do what we call an equipment replacement. So one thing is there is a problem with the machine, you send a technician, you repair a part, you know, we have the ability now as a dealership to originate a an asset replacement, which
Wow.
means that if there is a machine that is failing repetitively,
Wow.
we can ship a machine overnight with a box that the customer we can just replace the previous machine, and we
Wow.
continue with the agreement. So that gives us a tremendous amount of, uh, of power because we can control the whole process.
So I mean, so brothers, I mean, they're basically we fix it or replace it, essentially.
Well, yeah. Well, the first thing that Brother has done is it's interesting because Brother offers this equipment replacement guarantee, and then when we ask how many have you done, and there are not that many because we never get to the point where it's such a break that is the machine becomes unfixable. Okay,
Okay.
but there are times when it makes more sense or is more convenient for the customer, and those are the products that we actually offer. But you know, so the tomorrow we're going to have a meeting with the brother sales team in which we talk about you know, it's another further education about the MPS agreements. And you know, sometimes what is all this new, okay, um, equipment has changed and it continues to evolve, but is evolving not in terms of how the printing engine is designed, but in terms of connectivity that the printer can bring, different levels of security, different levels of interaction with the printer. Okay, in the old days, it was very difficult to print from an iPhone to a print without having to go to a computer and have your print drivers installed. Well, now Brother offers Wi-Fi capability. You can print with a Brother app without even having to have a printer driver installed. And those are the things that make it very convenient um, uh, and encourage us to continue to be excited about Brother. So the new technology is an important part of what Brother has done
Yeah.
because they develop a printing engine. Uh, although all the machines have components and they have toners, whatever, but their printing engine is designed in such way that is highly reliable.
Yeah, and you mentioned the MPS that you guys are going to discuss this issue of managed print services. Now, why would managed print services be relevant to business owner that's dealing with paper, that's dealing with constant breakage? You know, like what's the relevancy? Because honestly,
Right.
like I've never done managed print, but we have a printer here in the office that I buy from Costco. I bought all my printers from Costco, and now I'm really basically leaning towards moving towards managed print, which is because the machine's always breaking. There's something wrong, and I gotta try to figure out how to like fix the
Right.
ink thing, and I'm shaking it, I'm twirling it around. Is the managed print for people like me who basically
Managed print is for people like you and many others. We talk about SAS, software as a service. Well, you know, managed print service is printing as a service. Okay, the reality is it's not important. You know, we're taking the responsibility of the management of your printing devices from A to Z. See, right now in your environment or in many other environments similar to yours, you have to remember if that you have to print, you better either have an extra toner cartridge on hand or have or if you run out in the middle of a job, then you need to run to the store and get it. And then you're going to buy the toner at the price that the store has it at the time. And then more than likely, your expenses when you present them to your accountant and I say, oh, this is an expense for toner. Maybe you remember to give them the receipt, maybe you don't. So there is a lot of indirect costs associated. Okay. the employee productivity. If you have to send your employee to pick up the toner at the store, that's time that you lose out of your employee. Okay. There's a lot of hidden costs in the management of a printer fleet. Okay. You have an IT department. Many times the IT departments get boggled down with printer repair or printer issues that could easily be reassigned to the managed print services company like RDS could do. Okay. So we partner with an IT department because we say to an IT department, all the responsibility that has to do with the printers, just pass it on to us. We work for you. We're going to make sure that we manage. We're going to make sure that we measure the usage. We're going to make sure that we ship you the toner before the toner runs out. We're going to make sure that if there is a problem, we open the service ticket. If a printer requires a replacement, we manage that as well. And in the managed print services analysis, what we do is we do a total analysis, even bringing up electrical costs and some of those indirect costs that you may not be accounting, because all of those things add up in your bottom line, okay, and affect your bottom line. So the management service is a conversation. We have a set of tools that can help somebody see very clearly where their expenses are, and then we offer a solution to help them with sufficing those costs. That slide is a very good one. You have hard costs and visible costs, but then there is a lot of other soft costs that make the TCO, which is the total cost of ownership. Okay, so the total cost of ownership also has to do with, from how long does it take my employee to open up a service tick with a vendor and manage that the technician comes, and then when the bill comes, is it an easy bill to read? Is it an easy bill to understand? Is it an easy bill to put through? All of those are indirect costs that are associated with the total cost of ownership, and they're important to discuss with anybody. And many times we can find that within the budget that a customer has, by redirecting the process, we can help them accomplish a better result. Make sense?
Absolutely. So when it comes to and I totally understand. So NPS is important for the end customers, right? But some people still have the thought pattern that it's better for me to buy a printer and then just kind of like a car, right? Fix it myself.
Right. No, I understand. Well, it's the complexity of some of the things may not make sense. There are a lot of people that don't see beyond that. Hey, if I do it myself, it'll be less, and it's not always the case. That could be what we're saying is, we are the experts in this industry. We know how to bring the value and how to solve those problems, and I think we can do it better than somebody that does it from time to time. Okay, the ownership conversation is another important conversation, because even if you look at accounting principles, when you have either an NPS agreement or an operating agreement, basically it's a rental that covers your equipment, your service and supplies. Normally those are costs that you can deduct from your operating expenses a lot easier, okay, than investing the money that you have. I always say money needs to be used to grow your business, okay? You buy what appreciates, you lease what depreciates. Well, NPS is a form of being an operating agreement, because number one, there's another point that I wanted to make, that you go to the store to buy a cartridge of toner for your current printer, and you buy two because you figure you don't want to run out next time. So now you have a cabinet worth of toner. Well, the printer that was 8 years old, all of a sudden dies on you, and you don't have a service agreement. So what do? You go to the store and you buy another printer. Hey, they're not that expensive.
Exactly.
Guess what? You buy the new printer. the
That's me right
toners that you had in the cabinet, you have to dispose them. So that was money thrown out the door. Okay, so the low end printer business is a razor blade business. They sell them for a low entry point because in the consumables is where the difference is. Okay, where the margins are, and inkjets are very notorious for that. So I say to any customer, if you're using an inkjet, let's have a conversation. Okay, if you have many different printers, different models, different toners, different SKU numbers, we need to have a conversation. If you're looking at your bills and you don't know where, why somebody in this department have X amount of a high Office Depot invoice, and you don't know what was bought with that, then we need to have a conversation. All of those are the elements that make an analysis for that could bring us to a solution like an MPS.
Absolutely, and it's interesting that I think the market's catching on. I mean, I'm reading this slide you shared with me that the MPS model has been growing, and it's going to reach $51 billion this year.
It is a growing trend in the business because all we're doing is transforming the business. The business is out there right now, but it's ad hoc, and people are buying things individually and not necessarily. One day you buy a toner for $50, the next day is $90. Okay, and you don't know. Okay, when you enter into an MPS agreement, we can actually guarantee price for a set up to 5 years. Okay, depending on the agreement that we enter, we can guarantee you a price commitment. How many things we can say today that we're going to be paying in 5 years the same that we're paying today?
Wow.
Very few.
Yeah, especially with inflation and everything. Wow, this has been good, Gustavo. Thank you for, again, just educating us about the workspace solutions that's so critical to growing our businesses, understanding the world of managed print, copiers, printers. And I know RDS, you guys deal with a whole set of solutions. And anyone who's watching this podcast, you can actually reach out to RDS on their website. You can see their logo on the top right. It's rdsteam.com, rdsteam.com, and they'll give you a free consultation. It's been a blessing for me to work with them for the last 2, 3, 4 years. And just to see the kind of reviews they get and the kind of impact they leave in customers. Very few of my clients have the 4.9, 5 stars. They kind of teeter between that level, but these are genuine, even some local guides that really their customer service is impeccable. And I deal with these people, and it's a great company to work with. So thank you, Gustavo,
thank you for the opportunity, and we look forward to continue. Like I said, would love to share everything that we know, and anybody out there that you think that any one of these points make any sense, call us. Let's have a conversation, okay? And we will help you at least dissect your current situation, and for you to see where how you're managing things between expenses and reliability.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.